You're watching Dumas ISD TV.
They're going to throw it down the middle. They have Johnny Marquez open. He's at the 40 of Canyon. He's at the 30. He's at the 20. Johnny Marquez will score. What an answer for the Dumas Demons.
A one-play answer, no less.
He's back to pass. He's looking downfield. Now he throws it down the middle. Dumas is there with an interception. And that's Johnny Marquez with the ball coming back toward the Dumas sideline. That may be, is it Johnny?
Yes.
All right, and he's at the 20, and he finally gets thrown out of bounds at the 18-yard line. Back to pass is Mills. He throws it across the middle. Has a receiver open. It's going to be caught. Back to pass is Mills. They throw it back to Escarcega. He on a screen play. I think he's in for the score. Yes. Touchdown, Dumas Demons. Back to pass. He's looking deep downfield. He's throwing it deep downfield. Has a receiver open. It's going to be caught into Canyon territory. Here comes a man in motion back to the left, but they're going to hand it to Eduardo. He has a big opening. He's in for the score. Touchdown, Dumas Demons, Eduardo Hernandez. He's back to pass. Here comes a blitz. He steps up into the pocket, and now he throws it down the middle looking for Emino Marquez. He has it. He has it on the 1-yard line.
I think it's touchdown.
Touchdown, Dumas Demons. Here comes the receiver back to the right. Colton takes it, rolls to the right, throws it. It's going to be Coley on the catch. Second down and 1. Back to pass is Colton. He throws it over to the Canyon sideline. It's caught, thrown out of bounds. Back to pass is Mills. He's going to throw it down the middle. Looking for Emino. He grabs it. What a catch. He's at the 40. He's at the 30. 20. Touchdown. Dumas Demons. 85-yard pass and catch. Here's the snap. Lopez is going to roll left. He's going to throw it down the middle, and it's going to be picked off. Emino Marquez. Back to pass is Mills. He's going to step up, throw it deep down the middle, looking for something, and it's caught. Touchdown, Dumas Demons. Mills is going to take it back to pass, look left, steps up into the pocket. He has a running room. He only has one man to beat, and he is going to be down, I believe, at the 1-yard line. To the right, he's back to pass, and they're going mano. Johnny Gutierrez, and I think he has it.
Incredible.
Touchdown, Johnny Gutierrez.
What a catch. He was double teamed.
Back to pass is Colton Mills. He escapes the rush. Now he throws it downfield. It's going to be caught, and that's going to be Coley, and he's in for the score. Touchdown, Dumas Demons. Saying there's 2 seconds on the clock. This will be the last play of the game.
O-line got blocked out.
39-yard field goal. Here we go. Zamarippa ready to go. There's the snap. The kick's on the way, and the kick is... It's good!
We did it! We beat him, baby!
Yes,
Let's go!
Yes,
Send them home! Send them home! Let's go!
That's just like what they won last year.
That's exactly like it.
Oh, yeah.
What a senior night in Demon Stadium.
You're watching Dumas ISD TV.
All right, welcome to Game 8, District Game number 3. We're here with the Coaches Show with head coach Aaron Dunnam. Coach Dunnam, welcome to the broadcast.
Thank you, Zane. Sure appreciate it.
I'm glad you're here because we couldn't have it without you.
Yes, sir. Same with you.
Well, I don't know about that. I've heard I'm replaceable. Coach, huge win last week for the Demons. Dumas wins 35-9 over Canyon. It was a game that Dumas led from our opening play on offense. We got a stop on defense on 4th down, got the ball back, and score immediately.
It was a really good game and a much needed game. It was just it was neat to watch our kids fight through the adversity we fought through this season and still just come out and execute. We did exactly what we thought we could do. And it was really, really neat to just watch our kids come out and execute the game plan and play a really good football game.
Talk about the prep that goes in each week to execute and even see things like that first play work.
Yeah, and there's just, I think our offensive staff has done an outstanding job. I sat in offensive meetings a little bit on the weekends, and just to watch them, look for mismatches and try to find, we're not changing our offense from week to week. It's just not what we do defensively or offensively. But just to watch them, study game film and see where people align and just find out how we can run our stuff, but maybe make some tweaks here and there. So it's not difficult on the kids, and it's something that we've done and that we're familiar with. And they did an outstanding job. Found ways to get into motion and get in different offensive formations and sets to be able to create mismatches. And they did that the very first play of the game. I mean, Coach Waddell had said that, we're going to score. We're going to score. And it was crazy if we did, And so that's the game plan that goes into it, defensively as well. I mean, a game plan is never set in stone. It's evolves and moves throughout the entire week as we film everything. We film every one of our practices, and we're watching that and we're checking, how we're aligned to the plays and what's going on. And so, they were in the Canyon game. I mean, crazy enough, but at about 3:45, I mean, there's some things that we saw and some things that we wanted to change. So we called a meeting with our kids, and we changed it and some alignment, different things, and our kids went out and executed it to a T. So that's really neat to see.
I think that's an awesome story.
It is.
Talking about how you prepare, at the beginning of the week, you're preparing for the week. Here's what we're going to do. Here's how things are going to work. And we're going to get these things installed. We're going to get our kids going in this direction. And then as you guys kind of watch things during the week and you kind of see things and even watching back film of Canyon.
Sure.
And then you say, you know what? Let's tweak something. Let's see what this will do. And the kids and your coaches grab onto that and, man, just go out and everything happens.
Well, and I think there has to be a system in place or your kids couldn't do it. It's not a grab bag defense or offense. We're not looking in the bag and trying to, we run a 3-4. We have X amount of coverages. Now there are tweaks within that. We're a spread offense. We're multiple. We run gap schemes and inside and outside zone, and we're not going to come the next week and all of a sudden be in the wing T. We're not going to do that. But I think if you have a system installed and your kids understand that, you can make these quick and you've got to zero in throughout the week. The game plan's really, really broad on Monday, and you're trying to teach the kids, and on Tuesday. But as you get closer to the game, you really, really want to bring that in and zero in. And you might, as you're watching film throughout the week, you're like, man, I really, really like that, or oh man, that doesn't look real good. And so you just change and try to by Friday, get it really where you want it. And then there's even more changes on Friday.
Sure.
You go in, and that's what we talk to our kids about. They're going to do something that we've never seen, or they're gonna line up like this, and so we've got to be able to adjust. And I think too, you've got to be able to fall to your system. You've got to be able to, in order to make adjustments inside the game and quickly, you've got to fall on something that they have knowledge of. You can't totally change a defense or totally change an offense in the middle of a game. Just small tweaks. So.
Well, let's talk about offense. Colton Mills, again, electric in how he played. 384 total yards. He ran for 100, threw for 284, had 4 touchdowns. He accounted for all but 51 of total yards offense.
Playing really well right now, and I think everything's really just starting to slow down for him.
Sure.
As the older he gets and the more mature he gets, the more experience he gets in each game and the success that he finds, the game's really starting to slow down for him. He really sees things really well. Did a great job this week of, when they did have things covered, he stepped up in the pocket. Even a week ago, some of the pressure off the edge really gave him some problems. This week, he made adjustments. I think, I don't know. I don't know if I've seen a kid quite like him with the intention. You find something that he needs to work on, and you tell him. He's very intentional about what he's doing. He really, really works on it and thinks about it and tries to fix it the following week. And so, we were getting some pressure off the edge, and he was sitting in the pocket a little bit too long and taking sacks. Not this week. He'd see the pressure, and he would step up. And he's a talented kid with his feet as well, really, really fast. And so he did that. He stepped up in the pocket, rushed. Also, Canyon was really trying to get out of there and get their backers into coverage, and he'd step up, and there's nobody really there to get him when he flushes the pocket. And so he really did a great job with his feet and rushing for over 100 yards.
It was fun to watch. It was as the game kind of evolved, he adapted and did the things that we needed to do offensively to be successful.
And that's just coming with his knowledge.
Man.
His knowledge for the game is getting better more and more. Just the older he gets and the more experiences he gets inside of the game. I mean, I think it's really hard to understand that he's just a sophomore. He started 7 games for us last year, and now is into 7 games into his sophomore season. But he's just his knowledge for the game is improving each and every day.
I had just a few weeks ago. I came in on a Sunday, and I sat and watched or listened to the offensive coaches just for about, it was less than 5 minutes. But I was blown away with how they were able to kind of work together as a unit. Different coaches coaching different positions, talking about what they've seen, what they're watching as they watch the film, and talking about, again, like you said, some of the things that work. And I know that you guys on defense do this as well in seeing how other teams align, knowing the strengths of your own team,
Sure.
and how you guys can execute those things. And when it comes together as a whole in a game like this, man, it's got to be so pleasing.
It is. That might be the neatest thing about this. We work extremely hard on the weekends to install a game plan, and it really doesn't matter what you know as a staff. It's all about what your kids can execute. And so I think it's smart. You've got to be smart. You can't put too much on them that they can't compartmentalize it or be able to regurgitate it on the field, and that's the key. But it's really neat, when you establish a game plan and your kids lock into it and you really come out and watch them perform on a Friday night. There's not a better feeling to watch your kids go and do that, and then just also be able to get the confidence of going out and executing, because we've dealt with the other this year.
Sure.
We've dealt with the heartache. We've dealt with the of falling short a few times and our lack of execution. And so it's really, really neat to see the kids continue to stay locked in and just continue to master their craft and go out and execute on a Friday night, because they executed really well.
They really did. And so a good quarterback's got to have guys that he can throw to. Blake Robinson, again, made a big play in the second quarter to kind of start giving the Demons some distance. My sons and his brother have nicknamed him the Waffle House, and we kind of use that on Friday night because they say he's always open. And I end up noticing that a couple of the TV shows caught on too.
Sure, I heard that.
He had a great game, 2 catches, 69 yards and a touchdown. Eminol Marquez had 1 catch for 28 yards and a touchdown, also had 2 interceptions. We named him the player of the game. I wanted to mention all these receivers because Colton's spreading the ball around, but each one of these guys has electric speed, big playability. They can break it. Reese Waddell, 4 catches for 63 yards. He's the team's leading receiver as far as catches go right now. James Coley had 3 catches for 57 yards and a touchdown. And, man, it was so good to see Johnny Marquez on the field. Again, first play of the game was his only catch, but it went for a touchdown. And I think, man, it lifted the spirits of the team. They kind of followed him the rest of the way.
It definitely did. It was great to to have our guys back, and we knew coming into this season that Johnny would give us the ability to do that on both sides of the football. But you name all those receivers from Blake to Reese to Eminol to Johnny to James. All those kids are just really doing a great job of And I think the greatest thing about all of them, they just fit within the scheme. Neither one of them are concerned or worried about how many catches they have. They all block extremely well too out on the edge. Just great team players and kids that are really doing a great job. And I think Eminol, this might have been the best game he's had all season. Okay, both sides of the ball. Again, he didn't have tons of catches on offense, but but the touchdowns and then his 2 picks on defense, it was really, really good to see the way that he played.
Fourth down play.
Oh, no doubt, no doubt. So,
I think he rushed the ball a couple of times, almost had 20 yards rushing.
Yeah, it was one of, I think it was the best game that he's played all to this season. So,
oh, I would agree. And to me, the way that he played on defense, he's sort of throwing his hat in for I should be one of the defensive players of the year in this district.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, he's good. I mean, he's a good football player and just really, really does a great job for us, on both sides of the football.
The other guys defensively, LD Balbuena, he led the team in tackles. Johnny Marquez, of course, was huge. Dustin Coey had a great game, made some big plays on third downs. And then Xavier Quiroga had 3 tackles for loss. He might have played his best game of the season.
I think so. And a talk all week long was about creating some explosiveness on the defense side of the football. When you talk about explosive, you usually talk offensively about that, but I think there was a missing part of us defensively that we needed some explosiveness on the defense side of football. LD, a kid that we've talked about almost every weekend here, he's doing a really, really good job, and he's tackling really well. And but again, I think Johnny, we were missing the explosiveness. But then you talk about Xavier Quiroga, you talk about Dustin Coey. All of these guys are playmakers for us, but we were still lacking just the big play, where the crowd gets excited and our kids get excited. I think you saw those multiple times on Friday night from the defense, and so that was really, really good to see.
Coach, and I would say as a whole, maybe the best performance by your defense against an offense that has put up some points this season. They've been tough to stop at times.
They have, and it's a unique. I mean, they shift in motion and get in and out of different formations. And I was just really pleased to see the way that our kids adjusted to that. And again, that goes back to what we talked about, the game planning and the focus all week long and the quick changes that we had actually on Friday at 4 o'clock. I mean, the kids just really, they grasp it. They understand it, and they did an outstanding job of just getting alignment. I mean, number one is alignment. I mean, in order to be successful on defense, you must align properly. And that's what Canyon tries to do offensively. They try to get you misaligned by all their shifts and all their motion and their 3 backs in the backfield and overloading you at the point of contact. I just thought we did a great job. I thought our defensive game plan was spot on. I thought our kids executed it really well.
One of the things that I enjoyed watching about Friday night, and I don't get to do this often because I'm so focused on each play and recording and doing all the stat stuff, but I enjoyed being able to watch the sideline after plays just explode on big plays. After a score, after a stop, as the teams are coming out, players are switching on and off. I mean, celebration after celebration after celebration, kids and coaches just celebrating each other.
Agree. And we brought attention to that because we as coaches and players get lost as well, in the game, and are we executing and what's going on. And but we brought attention to that because you could see it. It was very evident Friday night that our kids were having fun, that our kids were playing for one another. We were super, super excited in other people's success, and those are kids that might be coming off the sideline that want to be playing more than they're playing, but we really had a team first attitude, and those kids that were really wanting to play maybe weren't playing, but were coming on for that one play of special teams. We're super, super excited for each other and high-fiving, and so that's neat to see. I mean, that's a team, and that's what teams do, and sometimes you got to put your own selfish desires aside to benefit the team, and our kids did a great job of that.
Well, for second straight year, we sent them home.
It was, no doubt, no doubt. It's good. I mean, 9 out of the last 10 years, to be exact.
Yeah, let's go. Well, Coach, again, second straight year, the Demons are going to make a long road trip of what I think is the second toughest place to play in district outside of Demon Stadium. They'll travel over to Hereford and play the Hereford Whitefaces.
We do. Again, as expected before the season, that this would be a tough district. It has proven exactly that. And so we've got another tough one. I mean, one after another, it seems like in this district, and there's no time to rest. You've got to put last week aside, and you've got to put the focus on Hereford. And we do. We've got to go over, and Hereford plays really, really well at home. And but again, it's it's an important game for us as well. And I think we understand that, and so we're up for the challenge and really excited about going over there and playing a really good football team. It was over there last year, a really good football game as well, 45-42, I believe. One on a last second field goal tied up to that at that point. And we really think that we left a lot out there. As we review that film and look at it from the previous year, and as we build into this season. That's a game that we looked at that feel like that we left a lot on the field, or we just didn't execute well at times, and majority of that was on the defense side of the ball because we scored 42 points. I thought we were pretty good on offense, so we're excited about it.
Media has kind of taken each one of our games so far in district play and made some storyline about us and Randall, made a storyline last week about us in Canyon, and again this week with us in Hereford. But Coach, it's no story for us. We talked before the season. We knew that this Hereford team was solid, and we've seen it all season. We knew that this game was going to be tough. We knew that this game is going to decide, outcomes, where people finish, as far as in the standings.
Sure.
And every game obviously does that, but as we go each week, it's no surprise to you guys. It's no surprise to us. We know that every single game that we're playing in this district is going to have impact on who's in, who's out, what place you finish, what seed you're in, who you're going to be facing, as you move on to the third season. All of those things go into factor, and it's no different this week against a really good Hereford team.
It's not. There's a lot on the line. I believe it started, maybe with the first district football game. I mean, I've talked to our kids that we're in playoff football each and every week. We're not waiting for the third season. I think if you wait for the third season, you're not going to see the third season. That's right. And so, every game is extremely important, and this one is another important one right in front of us.
So what are you looking for out of tonight's opponent?
I want to see consistency. We played really well last week, and we've played well at times all season long. Yes. I think consistency is the key. I think to see us come out for the second week and execute. And I think that is the key. As we talked, I still want to see us offensively. We talked about protecting the football. We still had 2 turnovers last week, but we created 2 turnovers on the defensive side, and so that was good to see. We had each other's back, and I think this is going to be a game that's going to be extremely important to do that as well. We're going to have each other's backs. We can't ride this roller coaster. We're going to have to try our best, to stay even. There are going to be some ups and there's going to be some downs in this game. I think the key is to stay consistent, stay constant. Don't ride the roller coaster and just play a 4-quarter football game.
We know that Hereford's returning a lot of players. On the defensive side of the ball, what do you think is going to be key for Dumas to stop this Hereford offense?
They've got a lot of weapons. They've got a really talented quarterback. They do return a lot of people, and majority of the people that are returning for them offensively is in their skill positions. Sure. Their receivers, their running back, their quarterback, and I think that's the key. We've got to eliminate the big play. We've got explosive plays are the key. That's the key to stopping this Hereford offense because they are explosive. And so we've got to keep them in front of us. We've got to be really, really sound in our alignment, and then be great tacklers. A big play that really hurt us last year against them was a 68-yard touchdown run that we had stopped for about a 3-yard gain, and just somehow poor tackling led to a 68-yard touchdown, and you lose you don't ever like to point back to one play, but you lose the game by 3 points. And so being great tacklers and keeping the ball in front of us and not giving them the big passing plays in the passing game.
Offensive side of the ball, what do you think is key for the Demons to move the ball and score against this Whiteface defense?
I think being able to establish a run game is very important. We're going to have to, and then trying to find our mismatches defensively, whether it be in the running game or whether it be in our passing game. We're going to have to, and I think the challenge for our offensive line, to really, really protect our quarterback, give him some time to get our receivers downfield. Because I think if we do that, if we give him time when we're passing the football, he's going to find guys. But then, we've got to be successful running the football. Sure. I think that's the key, and then protect it. Do not allow Hereford, with an explosive offense that Hereford does have, do not allow them any more opportunities than they deserve.
Well, Coach, I think it's going to be fun. It will be an electric. I mean, I can't think of a game that we're going to play the rest of the season that's not going to feel like a playoff type atmosphere. Our people have traditionally traveled well going over to Hereford. Hereford's again has a great home field advantage. You kind of feel like you're playing over there. I'm barely still in Texas, and I mean, and they've done a lot of renovation as far as new playing surface. I've got new video board, new locker room, and so it's a pretty good atmosphere over there.
It is, and it's gonna. We know it's gonna be a great game, and so if I would love to see you travel, love to see you get out and support us, because it's gonna be a great football game, and I don't think it's one that you're gonna want to miss.
Definitely so. Well, Coach, looking forward to it. Demons taking on the Hereford Whitefaces in just a few minutes. We're going to go ahead and take a break. When we come back, second half of the Coaches Show. Welcome back to the second half of the Coaches Show with head coach Aaron Dunnam. Demons getting ready to take on the Hereford Whitefaces tonight from Hereford. Coach, let's get into some quick hits. The most talented high school football player that you've seen play in person.
I've seen a lot of really talented ones. I've seen a lot of Division I kids from my time throughout my coaching career. But usually you wouldn't think coming from Wheeler, Texas, but I mean, actually, when I played in the state championship my junior year, and the most talented kid that I've seen is Brandon Everett from Granger. He was he's an All-American at OU. Was a hard-hitting safety that played at OU. Was an All-American there, and then would have had an extremely good career in the NFL. Made some mistakes in his life. Didn't do that, and then Brandon has actually passed away in an accident in the Granger in the Granger River back at home. So, but no, he was a really, really good football player for a Class A, which is current now 2A football player that went on and was an All-American at OU.
Wow. Well, I'll tell you, there's a couple that come to mind for me. One of them, obviously, growing up, I saw Zach Thomas play in high school at Pampa. But when I was in college, we went and saw a game at Midland, and I saw Cedric Benson play running back.
Sure.
And he carried the ball 8 times, and I think he had almost 300 yards rushing.
Wow.
Those 8 carries. Those all came in the first half, and he scored a touchdown, I want to say, on 6 of those 8 carries. So as far as high school football player, and of course he went on to be, a very talented running back at the University of Texas, and then had a successful NFL career as well.
Yes, sir.
But seeing in person in high school, I mean, he looked like a man amongst boys.
Sure. Yes, sir.
Coach, talk about the most influential, impactful, maybe opposing coach or coach that you've coached with, or coach that you've coached against in your life.
Sure. I've obviously coached against a lot of really good coaches. And there's been a lot that I've tried to learn from in this profession. But there's one coach that just always sticks in my mind. His name's Chuck Haig. He was when I got to Temple. He was a coach that not even from Texas, that moved into Texas and started coaching Texas high school football. But he coached secondary for me when I was the defense coordinator at Temple. He was our secondary coach, our corner coach. And just an amazing man. He's taught me a lot. He was almost, because I was a young coach, and he was a seasoned coach that had been in this profession a long time. But he was a coach that I just always leaned on for a lot of information, and just I still do. I still talk to him. I text him all the time still. But he taught me a lot. He taught me. One of the biggest things that he taught me is just relationships. I mean, I was always amazed. As the older we get in this profession, sometimes we think we sort of outgrow our kids. We get older and maybe we get set in our ways. He was a coach that never outgrew his kids. I mean, he always had related to his kids really, really well, was a relationship person, and poured his entire life into his kids. And Chuck was a guy that is just has really, really made a huge impact on me in this profession, and a man that, obviously his X's and O's and his knowledge for the game were really good, but really what he did more for me is just watched him with his relationship with kids and his impact that he had on kids. He'd give you the shirt off his back any single day. I watched him feed kids. I watched him invest. And so that's probably what I got from Chuck the most. And a guy that is, I've told him this, but he's had a huge impact on my life.
Coach, isn't it interesting as, we look and we can look across many different professions, but when we look at people that make impact, there's a lot of people that can do their job and then they can do it well. But the people that make the most impact, the people that make the most influence, it always goes back to that same thing. They know how to form relationships. Mm-hmm. They know how to relate to people. Mm-hmm. And because of that, they end up making massive impact on the lives of the people that they're around.
Yeah, and I think it's the biggest thing, too, about it is, it doesn't have to be your level, or it doesn't have to be the head coach or the coordinator. Or I mean, Coach Haig was our corner coach.
Yeah.
I was the defense coordinator. I was young by position. I was maybe in a position of leadership, but I mean, don't so as the coaches coming into this profession, as these young coaches that are working, just don't ever think that your job is too small or your position is too small to make an impact in kids' lives and to make an impact in. I mean, I was a defensive coordinator. Coach Haig was the corners coach. So much respect for him and what he did, and again, just how he influenced my life and how he's changed it and how he made me understand that. That it was all about relationships, and this profession is all about. It doesn't matter what you know. It does not matter what you know, and the kids don't really care what you know. They care how you're going to treat them and how much you're going to invest into their lives. And there's nobody that did it better than Coach Haig.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, let's switch gears a little bit. Best venue. One of these, I think, you coached in as a as a home coach a lot. One of them you played in, or not played in. Maybe you played there. I don't know. Played Wichita Falls.
I played there in high school. We actually I did play there in high school, and then I played there in college as well. When I was at Eastern New Mexico, we played Midwestern there.
Right.
So
Coach, what do you think is the better venue? Memorial Stadium in Wichita Falls or Shotwell Stadium in Abilene?
I'm going with Shotwell, and then Shotwell now too. I mean, I have not played there since they've done the renovations. I've seen them, but they did a lot of work there. They did a lot of work in the press box and different things. The press box was always I was in the press box when I coached there.
Sure.
It was you could feel the cold through the bricks, and you could hear the people through the windows. And but no, Shotwell was always an awesome stadium. One that I always really liked to coach in, and they've done some major improvements to it, and it's a really neat stadium. So I go with Shotwell.
Talking about legendary Texas high school football stadiums, Shotwell has to be on every list. I would guess before the state championship started being hosted at one centralized location, I would guess that Shotwell Stadium hosted more state championship games than any other Texas high school football stadium before it became a thing to put it all in one place.
I would think so. I mean, I played a state championship game here, in high school, but it was a long time ago. I mean, they didn't have any turf. I mean, it was grass and everything. But it was it's an awesome stadium, and there's some really good football played in Abilene.
Yeah, that's neat. Coach, let's talk about 4A Division 1 outside of Region 1. Because we kind of mention Region 1 a lot. We talk about some games that go on there from time to time. But outside of Region 1, what do you think is the toughest region in 4A Division 1?
I've got to get outside of Region 1, but you can't forget about it. I mean, Stephenville is sitting in Region 1, and they're actually just tearing through people really well right now. But outside of Region 1, I'd probably say Region 2. The DFW. Not that there's great football played in every region in the state, but the DFW area and the metro, it is. I mean, they attack each other and they beat each other up throughout the early parts of the year. But I would definitely say a lot of talent, a lot of really good football teams in Region 2.
There's at least 4 teams that come to mind for me out of Region 2. 2 of those are going to sound familiar in Decatur and Springtown.
Sure.
But Salina and then Frisco, Panther Creek. I mean, all 4 of those schools tough. I think heavy with Salina and Panther Creek.
Without a doubt.
I think those 2 guys are going to battle it out to see who wins Region 2.
I would agree with you. Yeah, some really good football and neat that we've seen those guys. We've watched them. We've seen them last summer. We played against Salina in 7-on-7. We played against Frisco Panther Creek as well in 7-on-7. So
yeah, and so those guys, I think that's why 7-on-7 is so special because there's really not a chance, unless you get to the state semifinals or state championship. The way that the bracket's set up, teams from regions don't mix and play each other. And so that's really the only opportunity for us in the Panhandle to see those guys on a consistent basis is at 7-on-7 tournaments and at the state 7-on-7 championship.
Which we have. We've seen them a lot because we have not seen them in real football, but we've seen them. We've been able to at least see what type of talent they have. I mean, 7-on-7 is not real football. I mean, I'm aware of that. I mean, because the most important part, I think, of football is your big boys up front on both sides of the ball, and they're not involved in that. So, but it does give you the opportunity at least to get off and see their skill and be able to play against, those teams and a lot of really, really storied, historic, really, really good football programs.
Yeah, and the fun thing is watching Dumas Demons stand toe-to-toe and go blow for blow with those guys.
No doubt.
Well, Coach, again, switching gears one more time, what cereal is in the Cereal Hall of Fame?
Well, I've had to. The older I get, too, I've got to change my diet a little bit. So, I don't eat these much anymore. But still, a memory that I have is, either Cocoa Pebbles or even Cocoa Puffs.
Yes,
both are good.
Okay.
And the main reason that I think they're good is because it's the end.
Yes.
You can eat the Cocoa Pebbles or the Cocoa Puffs, and they're all really, really good. And then you can finish it off with some chocolate milk.
It turns that regular milk into chocolate milk.
That's it. So that's why it's my favorite.
I like it. Like it a lot. I would have to say again, I have a couple that I would say I would be go-tos. I love Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Mm-hmm.
It's just been one of the staples. But I also like Captain Crunch.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know some people don't like Captain Crunch because they say it can just rip the top of your mouth open. But, you let it sit in milk a little bit, get a little soft.
There you go. There's a technique to eat
there
it.
it is, yeah. A little strategy.
Yes.
I would go with that. Coach, let's talk about some of the other games going on this week. Thursday night game between Lubbock Coronado and Amarillo High.
It is, and Amarillo High has been playing good football lately, and I think Lubbock Coronado's coming off of a big, maybe end of the game win over Caprock, and so I think this is a big one. I think it's definitely, my brother's involved in this, so definitely pulling for my brother.
Yeah, I am too. Coach, I think this next game probably with some playoff implications, winner of this probably puts himself in a good spot of making the playoffs. I think it's going to be a great game between Paladuro and Plainview. It's being played in Plainview.
I do too, and this has been this way the last couple of years. If I remember, almost the winner of this game the last couple of years was into the playoffs, and so here it is again. And two teams, I think Paladura has lost some, has dropped a few of these here lately, and some close ball games, and we've played Paladura in a scrimmage and been on the field with Plainview, but I think this is a really good game, and I don't know, maybe it being at Plainview might take the edge on this.
It really could. Next one, again, two teams that traditionally have just been pretty powerful in 5A Region 1. Tascosa going to travel to Shotwell Stadium and play Abilene High.
I think this one could go anywhere. I actually had the opportunity to watch Abilene High. Abilene High is very explosive offensively, very, very young defensively, and giving up a lot of points. Tascosa's coming off of a tough loss, I think, to a talented Monterey team.
Yeah.
But coming off a pretty lopsided loss off of that, and so. But I think this has been a good game again every single year, and I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't. Definitely just chalk this one up to an Abilene High win because I think it'll be a really good game, and I think with the offense that Tascosa runs and the struggles maybe Abilene High has had defensively, I think it'll be a high-scoring football game.
I think it would be a fun one to watch for sure. These next two, again, they could be some of the biggest games being played in the 806. Any classifications as far as how teams are ranked. Bushland will travel to play at Shallow Water.
I think this is a big game, and it is. I think I actually saw like some statewide games of all these guys that are 6-1 and 7-0 and 5-2, and just very, very powerful games throughout the entire state. And Bushland Shallow Water is one of them. And so Shallow Water's got a great football team. It's at Shallow Water. But man, I think they're gonna have a hard time knocking off Bushland. A 7-0 football team's playing good football.
Yeah, Bushland is playing running on all cylinders right now. Again, same thing with these next two teams. Both of these teams playing really good football right now. Panhandle will travel and play at Sunray.
I think it's a good
Lots
game.
of eyes on this game.
It is, and it'll be a really good one. Panhandle's played really well all year long. So has Sunray. I think Sunray's pretty motivated right now. Their quarterback is looking to do some things that have never been done, and so exciting game. And this is going to be a really, really good one.
Well, let's move over to Region 1 4A. We've got a couple games that are going to have major impact on playoff seeding and where teams are going to finish. The first one is Stephenville traveling to Lampasas. Both of these teams are undefeated in district play. They play in District 4 4A. And the winner of this game is going to be in the driver's seat to win this district.
These are both games, that we hope that if we finish the way we can finish in district, that we're going to see. I mean, where we're going to see them, we're not for sure yet. I mean, it could be second round, third round, fourth round. We don't ever know. But I think these are two teams that are going to be one of them, one or maybe each one of them that we are going to see. But I think Stephenville is playing really, really well right now. I think their only loss is to some private school, maybe out of Louisiana. Really, really talented team that they played. Besides that, Stephenville has really taken it to every team that they played, and so this will be interesting.
It will be interesting. Having to travel on the road, I think Lampasas played pretty good in their home stadium. I think it was our open week. I watched Lampasas play. And I can't remember who they were playing.
Burnett or something.
Or Burnett or Brownwood maybe. Okay. In their own stadium. I mean, they've got the grass field there at Lampasas. I'm sure with Stephenville coming into town, they haven't mowed in 2 weeks.
Yeah, no doubt.
It's going to look like a pasture out there. They're going to try and slow them down. I love the strategy of that if you have a grass field.
Yes, sir.
Because you can do it however you want to.
That's it. Agreed.
Next game, again, is between two El Paso teams. The El Paso district has been playing district games, I think, since like the third week of the season. They only had 2 non-district games. And this game will decide who wins this district. El Paso Riverside going to travel and play across town against El Paso Austin.
I think both of these schools are actually undefeated.
I think it
was on that list of really? State games. Okay. It was, and I think they're both 7-0. And we're familiar with El Paso Austin. We've played them the last 2 years. They're in Odessa. And so Riverside has also been a team there in El Paso that's had a lot of success here lately. We do have some, not El Paso Austin, but El Paso Riverside. We've got some people that Riverside has played that we're familiar with, that we've seen. We've got Pampa has played a team that El Paso Riverside has also played as well. But I think this is an interesting game, and it will definitely, it'll have playoff. We'll see one of these guys in the playoffs.
When we start, or when we come back next week, we're going to start kind of putting some pictures together for our people, because I know behind the scenes you guys are already kind of having to think like getting your name in at stadiums and having to plan that stuff, because the way that the playoffs are set up now, there's so many playoff games that are played in the first 2 weekends. With all the teams that make the playoffs. But the other thing is that with how things set up for the playoffs, there's so many of the same venues that are used for those places. And so our district, which is District 2 for football, District 2 4A, the El Paso district is District 1. And so the way that the playoffs are set up in every sport is District 1 plays District 2 and by district. District 3 plays District 4 and by district. And so we know that our district, all 4 teams that make the playoffs, will play 4 teams out of the El Paso district. And so that's why we right now not turn our whole attention, but are kind of at least watching what's going on over there.
Sure. And then, you talk about the stadiums. It makes it even tougher, now in the larger classifications.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
These are the stadiums that you play at no matter what. And then the larger classifications are going to have home games.
Guaranteed home games.
So if somewhere out there in between us and El Paso is Midland and Odessa, well, Midland and Odessa are going to have teams that are in the playoffs and are going to be hosting playoff games and so they're always going to get the first choice and on what day they play in it. So you have to really just take whatever, because there's not much out there that's in between.
Yeah, not many spots and even not many spots that both teams would agree to play at.
Agree.
So, well, let's move on to our district. One of these games being played on Thursday night because they're both being played at the same place. Pampa will play at Canyon.
I think this is interesting. I do. I think this is
too.
an interesting football game.
I don't.
Pampa has shown all year long to, the ball has not bounced their way, and they hadn't really got the victories in these games, but they've been in football games. They were tied 14-14 against Hereford, and so I don't know. I think this is going to be interesting. I really do. I think this will be an interesting football game.
And here's for those of you that are watching, here's why this game is so interesting, and especially for Dumas fans. The win against Canyon puts us in any tiebreaker scenario, unless it's multiple teams, at a major advantage. For one, we've got max points against Canyon, and we've got the win, which is more important. Mm-hmm. And so as this game being played against Canyon and Pampa, who both teams, again, looking for their first district win,
sure.
It matters to us who wins that game, because it's going to tell for us how things are going to play out, over these last 3 weeks.
It is.
We don't have to count on either one of these two teams to win or lose, but it is going to allow dominoes to start falling in certain directions. So that's kind of why we pay attention to this game for sure.
It is. No, it is. I mean, I think they're all important at this time, but this is interesting.
It definitely is, and so is this next one. Mm-hmm. Same venue on Friday night. Randall will play at West Plains. Randall's playing at home against West Plains. They're the visiting team. Again, this one could have impact on us.
Could.
Depending on if West Plains wins that game. Mm-hmm. Could set up a huge game with us next week against West Plains. Also, if Randall wins, it begins to lay the path for them to be district champions. So a huge game again Friday night in Happy State Bank Stadium.
It is a huge game. And then I think just beyond the implications it has in our district and for what it does for us and them, this is two programs that were at once under one roof at one school.
That's right.
And this is the first time they've ever played. Randall and West Plains have not played each other. They've sort of steered away from that. They've played Canyon, but they haven't played West Plains.
That's right.
This will be the first time that these kids that were at one time maybe at the same high school, they're going to be playing against each other with very, very big implications in the district. And then also just a huge rivalry game. So this is interesting.
That's so true. I had not thought about that. I saw earlier in the week, that they were talking about they had made a silver cowboy hat. Mm-hmm. I can't remember what they're calling the rivalry. Mm-hmm. And I was wondering, well, why are they just showing this right now? I wonder why they haven't done that in the past, because they haven't played.
They haven't. They played Canyon High, but they haven't played Randall.
And it makes so much sense because these kids, you're right. I mean, for sure, in junior high, went to school with each other. Mm-hmm. And so, man, it's going to be a good one.
It is.
Well, those are the games for this week. Again, Coach, so excited about what's in front of this team.
Yes, sir.
Again, after taking care of business last week, the team holds their own destiny.
We do.
In their own hands, and that's what you want.
Yes, that's the best part of it. We're not sitting here counting on other people or limping into this thing, counting on other people to do some things. So we do control our own destiny. If we can go and take care of business, the rest of district play will be right where we need to be.
Sure.
So,
Coach, looking forward to it.
Yes, sir. Me too.
Again. The game, if you're watching this game getting ready to take place in Hereford, this team has one home game left. It'll be next Friday night. It'll be senior night here, November the 1st, in Demons Stadium. You need to make sure that you're here in person for that game. Support this team. Be loud and proud. And again, it's going to be a huge, important game, as every one of these are. Could have. Depending on what happens in and around the district, could have district title implications. Sure. So make sure and show up, be there in person next week as the Demons take on the West Plains Wolves. Demons right now getting ready to take on the Hereford Whitefaces from Whiteface Stadium in Hereford. We'll have the game right after this.